Hey everyone, how's it going? We're really happy to have people here from all over the world. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the family. Don't forget to like and subscribe. One of the biggest contradictions we're seeing in the Russia-Ukraine war is what's been happening in just the past 24 hours. On one hand, we're witnessing the largest prisoner exchange between the two sides, massive numbers of POWs being swapped. And on the other hand, Kyiv just experienced one of the most intense Russian attacks in the entire war. So what's going on? What's the logic behind showing a glimpse of hope one moment and then launching brutal strikes the next? And it's not just airstrikes and drones. Things on the ground don't suggest this war is ending anytime soon. Let's break it all down. Alright, let's start with what happened in Kyiv yesterday. The city was hit by one of the biggest attacks of the entire war. Russia launched 14 ballistic missiles across various areas of Ukraine. 14 missiles, plus 250 drones, most of which were of the Iranian-made Shahed model. According to Ukrainian sources, 6 of those missiles were intercepted, likely Iskander-M types. As for the drones, they said they shot down 118 of them, and another 117 were neutralized, either fake targets or brought down by electronic warfare and jamming. So basically, they're saying 245 drones were stopped, and only 5 actually hit their targets. Really? Out of 250 drones, only 5 made it through? According to Ukraine, it's like Superman is running their defense systems. They also reported that even the ones that did hit only damaged buildings and residential areas, not military targets. And it wasn't just Kyiv. Cities like Dnipro, Zaporizhia, and Odessa were hit too. Odessa, that beautiful coastal city, was part of this large-scale assault. Meanwhile, the governor of Kharkiv also confirmed attacks there.
It was terrifying. The whole city was on edge. We heard the sirens, the explosions, and it felt like the end was near. But our defense systems did an incredible job, honestly. It's hard to believe only a few drones got through, but we're grateful for everyone they stopped.
That's the Ukrainian version. The Russian version is very different. According to Russia, they targeted a shipment of weapons that had just arrived from Europe and was hidden in Odessa. They also claimed they hit ammo depots, missile launch platforms, reconnaissance centers, and drone factories. And honestly, this doesn't seem like bias, but it's just hard to believe Russia would benefit from targeting civilians. Logically, they'd go for military infrastructure.
At the same time, while all this bombing was going on, the biggest prisoner exchange of the war was happening. Yesterday and the day before, Ukraine and Russia swapped nearly 700 prisoners. 390 one day and 307 the next. Today, about 300 more are expected to be exchanged. This was part of the deal brokered in Turkey.
But here's something the Western media tried to gloss over. Among the 390 prisoners handed over by Ukraine, not all were soldiers. 270 were troops, but 120 were civilians. These were taken from Kursk when Ukrainian forces entered the area. That's a war crime, by the way, capturing civilians. Now, did Ukraine get any civilians back from Russia? No, they only received military personnel.
So what does that tell us? One of two things. Either Ukraine doesn't care about its civilians and only cares about getting soldiers back, which would be a huge scandal, or Russia didn't capture any civilians in the first place, and it was only Ukraine that did, which would also be a war crime. And this isn't speculation. This info is being reported in the news. So that's what's happening now. And it clearly shows that Turkey played a major role in brokering this exchange. Something else important. Sergei Lavrov, Russia's foreign minister, who was recently awarded Russia's highest honor by President Putin, said that the draft of a ceasefire and peace agreement will be handed over to Ukraine a few days after the prisoner exchanges are complete.
Analysts are saying this deal is clearly tied to the prisoner swap, but make no mistake. The draft agreement isn't going to be soft. It'll likely include these terms. Ukraine must remain neutral, no NATO membership for Zelensky. Ukraine must recognize Russian control over the 5 regions, Zaporizhia, Kherson, Donetsk, Luhansk, and Crimea. This condition of neutrality is non-negotiable for Russia. But would Zelensky ever agree to that? Probably not. And that's why, right now, Western countries are divided over what to do next.
The US is a bit reserved, but Europe is getting tougher. America's being a little cautious in what it's saying and thinking, but today, The European countries want to take a tougher stance. Before, Europe would kind of follow America's lead, but now they're saying if Russia doesn't agree to a ceasefire, they'll hit even harder with sanctions.
Today, Zelensky even posted on Twitter asking European countries to impose more sanctions because of the recent attacks. But it's not just Russia hitting. They said Ukraine also launched drones last night on the Belgorod region in Russia. So what's Europe planning if there's no ceasefire? Europe's threatening to increase sanctions, especially targeting Russia's banking sector through the SWIFT system. They want to cut off more Russian banks and also reduce the price Europe pays for Russian energy and oil. Basically, they want to squeeze Russia as much as possible.
Europe wants Russia to accept their terms. America wants the same. But Russia isn't backing down on what it wants.
On the ground, things are super intense. Two really fierce battles are going on right now. One in Pisky, also known as Pikrofisk, and one in Kupiansk. Pisky is a very important military and strategic spot. In the last 24 hours, Russia attacked Pisky 45 times. That's 45 separate attacks and over 115 clashes between Russian and Ukrainian forces in that area. Kupiansk has also been attacked more than 10 times. Russian forces are pushing hard on Kharkiv as well. The Russians are fighting with crazy intensity right now. How do we make sense of Russia doing the biggest prisoner swap in the war while also launching one of the fiercest attacks since it started? Not the fiercest ever, but still very serious. Russia says the political side of things is separate from the military side, meaning the prisoner exchange is a political move, but the military pressure keeps going because they won't give up their demands. Just because Russia did a big prisoner swap doesn't mean they're weak or ready to back down. They're still holding firm.
We're stuck between two things. Russia and the US want the war to end, but only if it ends on Russia's terms. America isn't totally happy with that and still objects in some ways. And then there's Trump. Honestly, Trump's opinions flip-flop so much it's hard to keep up. We saw that today with the Iranian nuclear deal too.
Europe, on the other hand, doesn't want the war to end. Not because they want the war to continue, but because they don't want Putin to get his way. So looking at everything happening now, I don't think a peace deal is coming anytime soon. The war will continue, and it might even get worse.
Thanks a lot for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. At S News, we're committed to bringing you fair and traditional news.